Good morning and welcome to the Daily Tanya. Today is Friday, the 23rd day of Iyar. Let's begin with Tzedakah. Gedela, Tzedakah shemekarebes es hageula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. So today we are learning the second half of chapter 50. And the Alter Rebbe here discusses about the fiery love that we have to Hashem. Love like a fire. It is a love that a person feels about how everything, the entire world is nothing. It's compared to Hashem. And the person feels the feeling he wants to completely be consumed within God. Unlike the other loves that we discussed earlier in the chapters, there is love like water, love like reciprocal love. We see what Hashem does for us. We want to do the same for Hashem, and we want to have that connection here with Hashem. In this level of love, of fiery love, it is a different thing. It's something that a person is so much, his heart races to Hashem. He doesn't want to have anything to do with this world. And while the other levels of love naturally leads the person to do the mitzvahs, to do the right thing, because he wants to be connected with Hashem. He wants to have the connection with God in this world. This level of the fiery love is, on the contrary, it leads the person to completely forget about it, to forget about this world and to be consumed in Hashem. So that's what Alter Rebbe continues in this explanation, that what is the mission? When a person reaches that level of love, that he wants to be consumed with Hashem, we should understand that the mission is to shift gears, to go back in this world. And in a way, it's living like in a paradox. On the one hand, there is a need to have that type of love. When you live in this physical world, when you realize how, when you're talking about Hashem, the world is nothing. There is a need to have this desire to expire and to be with Hashem. But at the same time, as soon as you have that feeling, there is a need to go back. Use that feeling of introducing yourself to the world and coming back to this world and living in this world with this attitude of wanting to remove yourself from the world and connecting to Hashem, meaning that you need to bring Hashem, godliness, into this world. Let's see inside the way the Alter Rebbe explains. And this is the story of our life. We need to live in both ways. On one hand, we need to know, understand, we need to do the right thing, but not to be too comfortable with this physical world. We need to have this desire to connect to something greater, something more spiritual. So let's see inside. Says the Alter Rebbe, והנה, סדר העבודה בעסק התורה והמצוות הנמשכת מבחינת אהבה זו, היא בבחינת שוב לבד. The order of one's divine service through occupation with Torah, the Torah study and mitzvahs, a service deriving from this intense love, is possible only in a manner of retreat. Meaning when the soul withholds itself from expiring in order to fulfill the divine intent, which can only be realized when the soul remains within the body. So when you have this type of level of love, so naturally you wouldn't want to be coming back to this world. Your desire is to expire and to be with Hashem. So therefore, he says, this is the Seder Avodah, this is the order of service, to work, to make sure to come back to this world. There is the story of the Alter Rebbe with when he first came to learn Hasidus in Mezrich, and the Mezrich Magid, his teacher, set him up with his son, Rabbi Avram. They called him Rabbi Avram HaMalach, Rabbi Avram the angel. And he was they call him the angel because he was in such a high level, such a high spiritual level. He was learning the Hasidus, but feeling it, and his heart almost reached these levels of expiration. And they say that once they were sitting together, and the Alter Rebbe saw that he's getting into such a state of spiritual ecstasy. He was afraid for his life. So the Alter Rebbe took a bagel with butter and stuck it into his mouth to get him come back to reality. So the Alter Rebbe continues, as it is written in Sefer Yetzirah. Sefer Yetzirah is a Kabbalistic book that was written by none other than Avraham Avinu, Abraham, which he received it from Adam Rishon. And what does it say? It says, Ve'im ratz libcha shuv le'echad. If your heart races, if your heart hastens, return to one. What does it mean, return to one? Return to one meaning return to making this world one with Hashem. Return to yourself. Pirush ve'im ratz libcha. The meaning is, ve'im ratz libcha, if your heart hastens, if your heart races. What is it? Is the heart hastens? What does that mean? Hitchukas hanefesh shebalev b'chalal yemani. This is, it refers to the craving of the soul that is in the right side of the heart, the abode of the divine soul. כשמסגברת ומסלהבת ומסלהטת במאוד מאוד עד כלויס הנפש ממש להשתפך אל חיק אביה חי החיים ברוך הוא. When this craving predominates and bursts into flame and glow in such rapture that the soul is consumed with a desire to pour itself out into the embrace of its Father, its source, who gives one life. That's called the klois hanefesh, that the soul expires. Klois hanefesh. When you reach that level, that you want to expire and to be embraced with Hashem. The law says, "Mi ma'asora b'gufa gufni v'gashmi ledavka b'yizbarach," and to leave its confinement in the corporal and physical body to attach itself to Him, blessed be He. When one is consumed with such an incontainable, rapturous love, seeking even at the cost of self-extinction to become attached to God, there must be now a deliberate return to one. You have to return to one, meaning return to the oneness of Hashem in this world. Continues the Alter Rebbe, Azai zois yoshev el libay. Then one must take to heart the teaching of our sages. Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Cohen, ki al kochoch ato chai. Our sages teach, they tell us, ki al kochoch ato chai. Our sages of blessed memory say, despite yourself, you must live. Despite your craving for expiry, in klois hanefesh, in the expiration of the soul, you must nevertheless remain alive. בגוף הזה לחיוסי כדי להמשיך חיים עליונים מחיי החיים ברוך הוא למטה על ידי תירס חיים. You have to remain alive in this body to keep it alive. What does it mean to keep it alive? Not just to keep it alive physically, to bring the true life to this. For the purpose of drawing down the higher life force from the life of life, blessed be, through the life-giving Torah. That's what it means. You're reaching out, and then you have to come back to life, to introduce the spiritual life into this physical life. Through this, there will be a dwelling place in the lower worlds and created beings for his blessed oneness in a revealed state. So just as in ordinary dwelling, a person's identity is totally revealed, so will the true essence of the divine oneness be then revealed among the beings of this lower world. As explained above, that this is the ultimate divine intent, that a human being's service of God should make of the world a dwelling place for him. And this is the meaning of return to one, retreat from your love of God in a state of kalois nefesh, expiring of the soul, for the sake of the one, for the sake of revealing God's oneness in the world. And that's what we say, it says in the Zohar, something we read every Friday night. In Kegavna, we say, Lemeyeve echad be'echad, that there be one in one. What does that mean? And as explained in the Holy Zohar, that there be one in one, meaning that the unity which is hidden, the one of a higher spiritual world or level, shall become an aspect of the revealed world, becoming manifest in the oneness of a lower world or level. And this is the Alter Rebbe also explains what we say Friday night. We say lechadoidi likras kala. Zer shoyim lechadoidi v'chula. And we're saying lechadoidi likras kala. What does it mean? Let my beloved come and greet his bride. So here, the Alter Rebbe explains the chadoidi likras kala. The word kala, which means a bride, which refers to the relationship between the Jewish people and Hashem. Hashem, so to speak, is the husband and we are the bride. So the word kala also comes from the word kalot, like we said before, kalois nefesh, the expiration of the soul. That when we have that level of expiration of the soul, that draws down doidi, that draws down my husband, that draws down my beloved, Hashem present into this world. That's what it says, and this is the meaning of the text, come, my beloved, to meet the bride, the kala, denoting kalois nefesh, kala, and kalois being etymologically related. In this form of the love of God, one's kalois nefesh should be expressed through causing my beloved to come, meaning through drawing down the beloved one, God himself, so that godliness will be revealed in this netherworld. And based on this explanation, Alter Rebbe is going to explain the statement, what our sages say, a statement that needs explanation. It says, Al kocho chato chai, val kocho chato meis. Despite yourself, you must live, meaning against your will, you must live. And despite yourself, you must die. So which one is it? In other words, it tells us, when you're saying despite yourself, you must live, it means that what is the ideal state of mind should be, and we should want to live. And then it says, despite yourself, you must die. So it means it goes the opposite. It seems like the paradox, what's going on over here. But based on what we just explained, it makes sense that one needs to have both both desires. On the one hand, we must live, meaning that the desire should be to expire. And despite yourself, you must live. So, in other words, despite yourself, despite the fact that you have this desire to expire and to be removed from this world, forget about this world, connect to Hashem, you must live. We have a mission to bring down the true life into this world. But in the same time, right away, when you come down back to this world, you can't just become complacent and says, okay, now I'm good. I live in this world. Even though you do the mitzvahs, you do the Torah and everything, it says, despite yourself, you must die. That you must die also, you must have that desire of the expiration, realizing that all of this is nothing in the presence of Hashem. When you have these two desires, this is how you can fulfill the ultimate will of Hashem, is to have this physical world, which is totally removed from the spirituality, and yet introducing godliness and spirituality into this world. That's what Alter Rebbe says. With this one, we will be able to understand the saying of our sages of blessed memory, despite yourself, meaning even against your will, you must live, and despite yourself, you must die. So the Alter Rebbe asks, what then should one's desire be? But based on what we just explained, we understand. This explanation elsewhere, this is explained elsewhere at length. With reference to this Mishnah, despite yourself, you must live. With the help of the life of life, blessed be He, who enables one to cope with this compulsion to live despite yourself. So this means that when one's love of God is surging forward in Klois HaNefesh, the expiration of the soul, one forces oneself against one's will to remain alive within the body in order to reveal down here in this world the life of life, that divine force which gives life to the world. So this is the end of today's lesson, the end of chapter 50. And although this level of love, obviously, we're talking about a very, very high level of love. Not everyone is able to reach that level. But the message that we can take from this is we need to have these both desires at least. When you live, you go in a mission to fulfill a mission. Don't get too comfortable with your physical reality. You should always have a desire to draw back and draw to Hashem, studying Torah, davening, and doing good things, and then, at the same time, come back. Realize that there is we have a mission in this world to bring that light and that godliness into this physical world, ultimately changing this world and preparing this world for the coming of Mashiach very soon. Amen. Have a good Shabbos. Mitzvah Shem. I'll see you after Shabbos.